This presentation is about restoring and improving urban infrastructure in Ethiopia, Africa, specifically the capital of Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. All the members of this project worked on specific aspects of the design to generate a cohesive proposal. The presentation was broken down into the following format: Teresa in background, Ali in benefits and costs, Abby in design, Alyssa in ethics, and Laura in conclusion. Ethiopia has a highly diverse population with over 80 different ethnic groups. The current population is 74 million people, with about 3.38 million people living in Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa has a subtropical highland climate. To aid the community in Ethiopia, we have decided to expand upon the already built houses by replacing traditional roofs with cool roofs. We would like to add cool roofs to the houses for its cooling potential, and the cool roofs are made of highly reflective paint that reflects more heat than the heat that is absorbed.
These are just a few pictures of houses already in Ethiopia, and you can see that they are a little run down, and some of the houses are actually made out of just clay and brick, and the other houses are made out of, it looks like cement. Some of the apartments would do better with the sealant because the roof is flat, so they don't need the angled roof, whereas some of the other houses that have the angled roof would be better for clay tiling.
In the deserts of Ethiopia, many homes and people live without air conditioning, and if they do have it, it is very expensive. Implementing cool roofs in houses and apartments will be more energy efficient, cheaper, and comfortable for the locals. Cool roofs reflect light, absorbing less of the heat, making the buildings much cooler despite the constant glaring sun. A normal roof can get up to about 150 degrees Celsius, while a cool roof can actually get about 50 degrees Celsius less. This allows the inside to be much cooler and be much more comfortable for the occupants. Not only does the cool roofs help cool the inside of the buildings, but they can also help with the surrounding environment. It reduces the local temperatures as less heat is radiating off the roof of the buildings. Cool roofs will provide more comfort to a struggling community.
Ethics are very important to consider when beginning a construction project, especially in other countries. Much like America, Ethiopia has building codes, which civil and construction engineers must abide by. These codes outline any ethical and safety regulations the government requires. Some aspects of the ethics and building construction include where will the materials come from and how did the construction team acquire these materials. For our project, we will need to acquire steel, concrete, clay, and specific roof sealer. Since Ethiopia has a clay and cement market, it will be easy to obtain cement and clay from this country. Concerning steel, Egypt is a neighboring country to Ethiopia and has a very strong steel industry. Therefore, the construction team can acquire steel from Egypt's industry. Roof sealer can be easily acquired from the United States or Europe. Another factor of ethical construction involves doing what is right by the country and for the people. Some construction may tear down citizens' houses and take over whole neighborhoods. However, our construction project will only refurbish citizens' houses and provide a better living conditions. In addition, Ethiopia is in the middle of a housing market boom. Even though this boom is great for the economy, some believe this boom is just to cover up poverty in the city. Keeping this in mind, we will be restoring original houses, not building new ones. This will lead to nicer homes for the poor and middle class, and we hope to be welcomed into Ethiopia's construction industry with the promise that we will continue to influence the housing boom in a positive manner.
In this project, existing structures in Ethiopia are equipped with cool roofs. Residential buildings with sloped roofs, such as the one seen here, will have clay tiles to enable natural cooling. Ethiopia has many clay deposits, allowing for the materials needed for this project to be acquired quickly and cheaply. Here is a picture of what the clay tiles look like in real life. Adding clay to the roof of a building designed to support light shingles will involve reinforcing the structure to hold the weight. This will be done by adding steel beams and cement to the building. Cement is easily obtainable from Egypt, which is only 2 countries over. Here is an instance where clay roofs are applied to a building in Miami, Florida, but this is the same process that will occur in Ethiopia. In some instances, roofs such as that of a school are made of concrete. With concrete roofs, only cool roof paint is needed to improve the building's temperature because the roof is flat. Here is a video of the application of paint to a roof, such as will be done in Ethiopia.
Implementing cool roof systems into Ethiopia has many costs, including the several materials needed. We decided to add paint or special tiles to existing concrete houses. A single 5-gallon tub of paint would be about $100. A few houses would require $500 to $1,000 in paint alone. As for the tiles, because they can be made locally, they are inexpensive. Each 50 cm by 25 cm tile costs 4 birr. This equates to about 19 cents per tile. A 30 square meter roof, the average, would require 240 tiles. Thus, the total cost for the tiles would be just under $50 per house. The big costs would be the steel reinforcements and concrete needed to keep the clay tile roofs up. A metric ton of steel is about $800 to $900, but there should be extra steel left over for the next house. Concrete would cost about $100. All of these costs add up to about $1,200 for one house.
A major aspect of scheduling is when we can get workers there to perform the improvements on the houses. We could fly over volunteer workers from the United States, but this would be very restrictive on the schedule because they would not necessarily always be available. This is also restrictive because flights can get canceled, and they may not run when we need them to. We could also try to get volunteers to come in from the local community. Alternatively, we could pay workers from the local community to come in and work on the houses, but this would not be cost effective. Therefore, we concluded that we should try to get volunteers to come in from the local community. Additionally, for scheduling, concrete takes about 4 hours to set at a temperature of 80 degrees, which is typical for Ethiopia. This means that the reinforcements would take about 1 day to install, and then they could dry overnight. The crews would then return the next day to place the clay tiles on the roof. In all, the process would take about 2 days for the sloped roof houses. However, this process is very temperamental because the concrete pouring would need to be carefully planned well in advance because weather has a huge impact on the pourability of concrete. You cannot pour concrete when it rains or if it is too hot or cold. However, the cases of the flat roof with the paint is much simpler. The installment of the cool roof would only take 1 day because all that needs to be done is painting the roof. In summary, the NGO should invest in our project because it is cost-effective, easy to implement, and most importantly, highly needed. Our project is needed in Addis Ababa because it is very hot there, averaging 80 degrees year-round, and not many people in the area have access to air conditioning for their homes, whether it's for cost reasons or simple infrastructure reasons. Our design will work well because it can be built on existing structures with just a bit of reinforcement. This means that we won't have to alter too much of the existing infrastructure and houses that already are in Addis Ababa. As discussed previously, most of the materials will come from the surrounding area, which will eliminate any hassle associated with importing these products. It solves the heat problem by providing cooler living environments that won't have upkeep costs in the long run for the citizens of Addis Ababa. This lack of upkeep costs is very important because many people in Ethiopia are in poverty and cannot necessarily afford to cool their homes with air conditioning year-round. In addition, it is a good investment because it is greener than air conditioning since it doesn't require any electricity. Thank you very much for listening to our proposal. We hope you decide to fund our Cool Roofs in Ethiopia project, and have a great day.